In my mind, there's one choice for roofing around here, and I'd go with your best choice. Whether it's time to replace your roof or repair it, Best Choice Roofing provides top-notch roofing services tailored to meet the unique needs of Detroit homes and businesses. They serve the region and inside the city of Detroit, too. You can find out more at bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit. That's bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit, or call 313-474-7031. That's 313-474-7031. Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in the Motor City. I am Jer Staes, coming to you from our studio at Corktown on this Friday, November 21st, 2025. And joining me, as he does many Fridays, almost every Friday, is Man About Town. And I have to say, because the story is going to be important that we talk about later, Dearborn City Councilman-elect Devon O'Reilly. How are you?
Hey there, Jer. Good to be here. Appreciate the introduction, but yeah, just another Friday for me.
Yeah. As we head steaming full ahead into Thanksgiving, full ahead.
I'm ready for it. Mine as well, right?
Yeah. So
it's the weather. The weather is indicating it's Thanksgiving, or actually, the weather is taking quite a downturn. So the gray haze and the cold temperatures, you got to look forward to something. Might as well be Thanksgiving Day.
Right. We're gonna have football. We're gonna have food. Whatever you want to do for food. What is your number one side on Thanksgiving, sir?
Oh gosh, that's a great question, Jer. I truly can't live without a good stuffing on the plate. I think stuffing is something where, like, of all the things I think about eating, I eat turkey other times, I eat green beans, I eat corn, mashed potatoes, all these other things. There is no other day or days that I will ever encounter stuffing in a year, except for Thanksgiving and the subsequent days when we're left over around. So it's got to be stuffing.
Do you know what I feel is completely appropriate during the month of November? I will buy a box of stuffing, like good stuffing, and I will just make it, and I will just eat it for dinner.
Oh.
I'll just make it and eat it.
Do you like a crunchy stuffing or like more of like a soft consistency stuffing?
I like something that's got a little bit of different textures to it, which is hard to find.
Okay.
That's why you got to be good with what you get out of the box. I usually will doctor it up a little bit with some veg or something like that, like put actual
gotta have like
celery.
some celery, some apples, even. Yeah.
Ooh, yes. Oh, that reminds me, I've got a apple bramble that I need to make.
Oh well, you have fun brambling that apple.
Yes, I'll bramble along, and I am rambling while I'm brabbling. Where have you been?
Well, Jer, I didn't venture too far this weekend, but I was at a pretty cool event. Now I know that you talked about this on a previous episode this week, which was the kind of, I call it unveiling or grand opening of what they're calling, the new Ford World headquarters, which is the former kind of engineering lab and space right on Oakwood Boulevard, across from the Henry Ford Museum in Greenfield Village. Everybody knows where that's at. If you've driven past there, even in the last couple of years, you've seen that the structure has been going up. It was finally time to kind of christen it, and so it was a really incredible event. I got to go for kind of the sneak preview portion to get a full-on tour, which I know you got, and then hear from Jim Farley, Bill Ford. They really made it a family affair. All the Ford family was all there. Bill brought his family up.
Oh, wow.
Some of the cousins were there. It was a real kind of, it was all about kind of family. They actually had some different families that they brought up who, the Douglas family, who had been like Avis Ford, you might know Avis Ford. They've been in the dealership business for a while. They brought up a family of like generational workers who had worked at Ford. It was really cool the way they did the program, and the space, as you talked about, and we don't need to get too much into it because you covered it a lot, but just incredible. I said, if the version 1 was the glass house, this is like the glass spaceship. I mean, it's just so cool in there.
Well, you're so much more VIP than me because I did not get Bill Ford or Jim Farley or any of those folks. I just got the PR people, which, no offense to them, they're wonderful, but no Bill Ford for me.
Well, when you take care of his great grandfather's house,
that's true. That's true.
Some perks.
That's true. There is the day job, right? There is the day job.
Someone's minding the family estate. So,
what was your biggest takeaway from where you sit, being so active in Dearborn, as far as looking forward now that you've been into it? What's your biggest takeaway?
Just really doubling down on the density, just the amount of workers that this is their play to get people back to work. And, that's going to come along with thousands more workers on any given day being in the West Dearborn area, which is where a huge piece of our downtown is, our West downtown Dearborn. And we would definitely appreciate the traffic from the business crowd, the after work crowd, the coffee from the before work crowd. So I hope, although they did give them a lot of amenities within the headquarters, I hope that those workers venture out and check out West Dearborn and all the businesses there, because there's some incredible places to check out. And I just really am happy with Ford doubling down on creating a space that people want to come to and want to work at. Because, Jer, without taking shots at anyone else, there is no car company in Michigan, the country, taking this type of approach. This is like a tech company. This is an Apple type of approach.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. There's a few spaces left that they still have to finish building out. I know there's still some settling that needs to happen, but I think really once it gets into the groove, I hope it's a really good addition for the region,
Yeah, no, I think it will be. And like you said, it's still not quite done, but it's going to really result in this amazing campus where you have, as I said, Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford. You're going to have the test track across the street, which is a really cool asset. You have the Dearborn Inn, which we've talked about on this show, this newly reimagined hotel with restaurants and a cocktail bar. Like, that's all going to be kind of on this walkable campus that they're creating, which is adjacent to a neighborhood, which I happen to live in. So, I'm very, very biased in all this, but it'll be really cool.
You mentioned the Dearborn Inn. I had a few listeners text me. I guess that they've got some new additions over there too. When we did the tour, they did not have the individual cottages done yet, but I guess they have an Edgar Allan Poe cottage and a bunch of other stuff that you could do in that kind of literary vein. I gotta go stay at one of these for a staycation or something. I don't mean this is like an ad, but this seems really cool.
No, you really do. And I've stayed in probably 4 of them because they actually existed before. This was a full renovation. These cottages, again, it's Henry Ford and all of his madness, for better or worse. For better or worse sometimes. But he commissioned the building, the construction of outside of the Dearborn Inn, behind the Dearborn Inn is kind of separate structures. In the Greenfield Village style, he commissioned these replicas of these famous American literary heroes or revolutionary heroes, whatever it may be, commissioned replicas of their residences to be built and basically turned into kind of Airbnbs. Henry was doing the Airbnb thing way before his time. And so they had been in a state of not disrepair, Jared. They weren't in disrepair necessarily. They just had become very antiquated. A lot of the features are really old. I memean, you want old, but you don't want old in terms of all of your bathroom features and the lighting and all that. So they got a really cool refresh. I've seen some pictures. I haven't been in the new iterations yet, but yeah, they basically gave them a refresh inside and out. But those structures have been there for quite a long time, and yeah, it can give you a really awesome experience where you can stay at a hotel, but it really can become a staycation. You can get some of the options. You get a whole house to yourself. Some others they've kind of caught up some of the larger houses. So that's a really cool feature that you don't really get anywhere else.
This reminds me because there's the Four Vagabonds bar at the Dearborn Inn. When you did the Ford tour, the headquarters tour, did you see the office? They're not tents, but they're inspired by the Four Vagabonds tents. Did you see those out in the Great Lakes courtyard? I thought of you. I took a picture. When I took of it, I was like, I got to text that to Devon because you are a big Four Vagabonds. It's a vibe for you.
It is a vibe. One day, if you've been in my office, Jerry, I have a picture in my office of the Four Vagabonds eating lunch in a tent with some of the wives. It's just a really cool idea. They all got together, Firestone and Edison and Ford and Burroughs, and they were all actually very different people, even different ages, but they all just like to kind of hang out, wander around, and so I'm glad that ethos has kind of crept into the new headquarters.
For those who don't know, the Burroughs name, because a lot of the other ones people should know, but Burroughs, he did the business machines company that actually was based a block from the Techtown studio. That was the original headquarters where Henry Ford's administration building is now. It will actually be turned into loft soon. But this whole area, in fact, we were on Burroughs. Literally, I am staring at Burroughs Street while I am talking to you. So it all goes full circle.
Very cool. Well, apropos.
Very apropos.
So now I didn't have to go too far from where I've been and, self-serving, check out some of the neighbors. Where were you at?
So I made it over to Winter at the Station. Michigan Central has done it up in a big way for the holidays, whether it's the garland or the shops, which are really cute. Everything is in definite Christmas mode. But I had to go in the waiting room area in the back. If you haven't gone, it's a beautiful thing. But they've really done it up in the back with a cool new feature, Devin.
Okay, so I went last year and it was great. It was obviously their first kind of crack at it. Station was still very, very new. So I enjoyed my time there, but it was kind of still definitely kind of, they were beta testing some stuff. So I'm interested to hear how your experience was different this year.
Well, yeah. So first off, I want to say there are a number of special events. You can go to their website, which I will link in the show notes, that will highlight the events happening through November and December, whether it's music, all that other kind of stuff, and movies and stuff like that. But the thing that I saw that I did not realize from any of the other videos, 2 features on their video walls. They've got 3 video walls that are in the gaps where the platform was. When we visited, there was that back area that went down to the main platform, but you can't really use it because it's so sloped as like a.
Yeah, it looked, and it still looked very unfinished.
Yes. So in front of that, they've put up 3 giant video walls. And here's what's cool. First, there is on the video wall coloring book you can do with your hands.
Oh, okay.
So it interacts with you. So you can fill in the coloring book. They put up different images or whatever. And as you put your hands over it, you actually color in the little dog, color in the station, color in the trees. That's very interactive and very cool. And then every once in a while, the kid in me was so excited. Have you ever seen, it kind of reminded me of the Polar Express movie. I know you're a parent. Maybe you've seen Polar Express?
I have. I'm very aware of the movie.
Okay. I've only seen clips. Okay. The one with Tom Hanks or whatever. Anyway, I was working away in that area because I needed to get out and stretch my legs. And all of a sudden, I hear train sounds. And the screens all change to look as if you are looking out the platform and seeing a giant train come through the station.
Wow.
It's labeled Michigan Central, and in the ye old train style, it's a steam train. It is so cool. You hear it come up, and then I was like, oh, that's a neat thing, and I'm going back to working, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I hear the train whistle, and the whole thing just starts rumbling by. Super cool.
Wow.
Gave me vibes of Times Square kind of animation thing. And it really started to push the envelope. And I really hope that they do more tasteful video integrations like that. Because I didn't realize you could make video work in that space that well. But it's animated. It's super cool. The energy, I'm a big train nerd. I'm a big history nerd. So to have that going in the background was super cool. And I'm actually going to post up some video of it that I took up on our Daily Detroit Instagram. But this is definitely a +1. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is really starting to get into that experiential stuff.
That's awesome. It feels like something that you either have to go experience, or at the very least, see some of your visuals on this.
Oh, for sure. And I love it when there's stuff that's only great when you're in person. Now, the video's fine. It'll be great. But really, you got to go down there in person. There's a couple shops to go to, get some coffee at Yellow Light or a biscuit and gravy or something. There's stuff. There's the gelato there. Some cool stuff, right? But having that interaction, bring your laptop. And it's the best way to do a little bit of work on the road or something. It's certainly, nothing against coffee shops, but you can't beat that giant waiting room. It's just gorgeous.
That's really cool. That is one of those I still have to check out. But yes, also check out Alba Coffee, which is one of my favorites in Corktown, right across the street. But also maybe have some Alba Coffee and then go sit in the waiting room at the station. You
know what? You could double it up. You could do the first part of your afternoon in the station, the second part at Alba, or you could do you could do a whole Corktown remote work thing. You could start at Alba, you could do lunch somewhere in Corktown, and then do your afternoon coffee at Michigan Central.
There you go. May I suggest Super Guile for your lunch, or a Tava Via, 2 fine lunch spots.
Ooh, a Tava Via. You know what? They do not get enough plaudits as far as being a reliable standby. I know they don't get as much press as they used to because they've been open for a while, but as a reliable standby and not crazy on the bank, really good. I also did not realize at their hostess stand, they have the hostess stand from the old Statler Hotel.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I mean, but you said you hit it on the head. They're not flashy. They're very consistent. They're very affordable relative to what, the rest of the prices of restaurants in that area have become. So, of course.
Well, it's always good to catch up with you, Devon, but unfortunately, I feel like we got to talk about something serious because there was some stuff that went down in your hometown this week.
Yeah, I was actually chatting with another member of the media last night. So, unfortunately, I guess good news, bad news. I was glad I was able to have the chance to speak and given a forum, but it wasn't for the best of reasons. I think a lot of people at this point have seen some of the video and what happened in Dearborn over the past few days this week, where it was a very disparate group actually of protesters, agitators. Protesters isn't the right word because I'm not sure what they were actually protesting. Agitators sounds a lot more appropriate. Came into town, and it wasn't really clear what they wanted to do. One of them was a candidate for governor, apparently in Michigan. I don't think he's going to stand much of a chance. I won't even say his name, but he was going to come here and start trouble. And he actually got kind of not intercepted, but he spoke with some members of the community. When he got here, he was welcomed with open arms and open minds, and he switched course and said, I kind of realized that this community isn't what I thought it was going to be, and so he stopped. He didn't go forward, but there was a small group that still did go forward. Kind of their incendiary tactics. They wanted to burn a Quran. They wanted to make a show of things, just in the most bad faith way possible. And they came to the council meeting, and they said their piece. Nobody stopped them from saying what they were going to say. It got a little physical at one point with some of the smaller groups, but at the end of the day, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we're happy they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, so people know. I think that it was over at Michigan and Schaefer where they did this. And there were groups, not only groups that were what they were saying was apparently they're anti-Islam demonstrators. They had very unfounded claims. And I've heard this stuff before about this false narrative that Sharia law is in Dearborn. It's absolutely false. In fact, if you think that Sharia law is in Dearborn, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. Because it's so wrong. If you listen to this podcast and you think that's a truth, please check yourself. Because that's insane.
Yeah, the only thing we have remotely close in Dearborn is shawarma law. That's about as close as we have. Is thou must have shawarma. But no, I mean it's ridiculous. And what's ironic, Jer, is actually the reason I was invited on Fox yesterday to speak about it was 15 years ago. My dad, when he was the mayor, confronted a completely different group of people, another kind of radical pastor who also thought that Sharia law was taking place in Dearborn and he was going to come burn a Quran. Same old story. And he came here and same thing happened. He was met with, open minds. People said, hey, you have the right to protest if you want. You do it in the right place, do it in the right way. He ended up not burning the Quran. I think he didn't get, it's not like the scales fell from his eyes, but he didn't end up burning it. He did come back. He still didn't burn it. So, I said this the other day. These people, they come and they leave embarrassed because it's so clearly not what they expected it to be. So, they leave. It's a total embarrassment for them. It's a total loss for them. They can see that this is clearly not what they thought. As we talked about, there's so much more going on in Dearborn. It's the fastest growing city in Michigan. There's over 110,000 people. Half of them are Middle Eastern descent, but we have twice as many churches as we do mosques. We have any number of restaurants where you can get alcohol and bacon dishes. We even have several gentlemen's clubs. It's not even and again, I said, kind of alluded to yesterday, we would all laugh if it wasn't just so ignorant and pathetic.
And also in the tone of what's happening in the rest of the country, although it is a reminder that some of these tropes have been around for a very long time. And I want to say too that there were counter protesters, right, that showed up wanting peace and unity.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably, again, we're not talking about this tiny small town. And so in a town of 110,000 people, you're going to have some people who were, maybe rightfully so, really upset about this and really angry. And they showed up and kind of did a counter protest to those protesters. And that was kind of the source of the conflict, I guess you would say, of the situation. But I think that, 99% of the people here in Dearborn were just willing to ignore them or, kind of welcome them in a way to kind of show them what we're actually about. But they weren't interested in that. And that's the difference, is they really, truly were not interested in learning anything about where they were going or what they were doing. And in fact, we're talking about people, and again, I don't want to, well, I kind of do, but the fact is these are some people who, one of the guys who was streaming was literally trying to fundraise as he was streaming the situation, like asking for money online. Like clearly you have ulterior motives. One of the guys who was protesting, Jake Lang, I believe his name was. I mean, he's literally a January 6th insurrectionist who was criminally prosecuted for assaulting police officers at the Capitol. I mean, this is who we're talking about, Jer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've always had an element of this kind of in American society, but it's in this social media age, it's almost like the energy has been turned up in a very negative way where things can look so much bigger than they actually are. Like you were talking about, like the numbers and how small they generally were. But, it's so easy in the social media world to think that everybody's a certain thing because you get kind of caught in an algorithm bubble or something like that. And I think it's so important. Go experience your communities here in Metro Detroit, whether it's Dearborn. There's so many other diverse communities too that we could shout out. And I want to highlight, I want to talk to people from, because Metro Detroit is a wonderful mosaic. And you know what? For the vast majority of the time, we get along amazingly, share amazing things like food and culture. And I think it's something to be lifted up and to be proud of, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and all it does here in Dearborn is to serve to unite people, because our residents we know who we are, we know what we stand for. So it only serves to unite us and make us stronger. And at the same time, you're right, Jer, let it be an opportunity to say, explore the communities that surround you and get out more and go see a different city, go see a different town, go have dinner, go have coffee somewhere else. I mean, that's kind of what this podcast that we do is really all about. I mean, we focus on Detroit a lot and we focus on Dearborn when you talk to me, but I'm just as happy to see someone checking out another area that they've never been to before, because that's what this is all about.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about towns like Sterling Heights or Troy or Novi or Madison. There's just so many things. In fact, if you are somebody who's listening in those communities or know people, reach out, dailydetroit@gmail.com. I want to talk to more folks around about the beautiful things that are happening throughout this region and so many great communities. Canton, I could keep going right off the top of my head.
Well, we'll playfully talk about some of these places, but there are really interesting things in almost every one of these communities if you just go kind of seek it out. And, I'm sure you're going to get more than one overture for Mount Clemens if you do this call to action, Jer.
Mount Clemens, actually, they have something to talk about. I'm going to go out there and see. They have their downtown, their streetscape is almost complete up there.
I don't really know. So I guess this is something we got to find out. We've been talking about this. We've been talking about this a lot here. I think we're going to have to wait till the weather thaws a little bit here. But maybe, in the early springtime, you and I could take a trip out to Mount Clemens and really do it up.
I 100% agree. Well, Devon O'Reilly, it is so good to catch up with you, my friend. Mostly under good circumstances, although we had to hit on some serious stuff. But, that's just how it is around here sometimes.
Yeah, we're all good. It's always exciting. And I think that's a good way to wrap this up, Jerry, is talking about whether you're in Dearborn or Mount Clemens or Detroit or wherever you are, don't be a stranger to your local community's businesses, and don't be afraid to venture out and check out some of those places that you've never been to before.
For sure. And if you need recommendations, send me an email, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Hit us up on our social. We're active on Threads. We're active on Instagram. We're active on Facebook. Daily Detroit, let us know. We're always working on guides and different ideas and where to point people. So good to talk to you, my friend.
Great to talk to you, Jer. Have a good weekend to you and all of our listeners.
Absolutely. With that, I'm Jer Staes. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/Daily Detroit. Local people keep local media alive. We need you. Get a sticker pack. We would be glad to have you. Until next week, remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.